If someone mind recording his or her part while they're presenting, please write so in the chat, so we'll cut your part from the whole recording. So one more time, here is the format of our session today. 18 minutes for each of the presenting companies, starting with 1 minute elevator pitch, then 2 minutes for feedback by the coaches, and then we'll have the startup presentation. I will annotate on the screen when you have 1 minute left, so you can speed up if needed, but I believe that we will keep it on time. And then we will spare 10 minutes for questions and answers, which is the most valuable part of these sessions for the companies. So they will get feedback from our very experienced coaches how to improve their presentation for the on-site event. Is there any questions on the format itself? Okay, if not, I will just share the next slide. Here is who is in the session today. On the left side of the slide, you can see our coaches. We're very happy that you're with us today. And then on the right side of the slide, you can see the presenting companies. We're still waiting for 2 more to join, but they will do so later in the session. Now, I would like to give the word to the coaches just to briefly introduce yourself, because as I said, your participation is very important, and the companies will count on your feedback a lot. So I will just start with the order that I have on the screen. If someone is still not here, we can do it afterwards. So Ufe, can I ask you to briefly introduce yourself? Just check if Ufe is here. Ufe?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
My name is Uffe Bundgaard Jørgensen. I'm from Denmark. I'm a previous venture capitalist. I've been running Engage Growth InvestorNet, which supports companies in getting funded, and we participate in large EU projects also in the energy sector.
Thank you very much.
My background is finance.
Great. We are honored to have you here today. Then I would like to give the word to Matthew. Matthew Jetty from ZAS Ventures. Hi, Matthew.
Hi. Matthew, I'm a principal consultant at ZAS Ventures. So we're a public funding platform. So we aid companies getting funding from EU calls such as the EIS Accelerator, and for large-scale projects, the EU Innovation Fund, or ETS.
Great. Thanks for being with us today. The next one, Elena Monteiro Franco from Triple Helix. Elena?
Hello. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Triple Helix is a venture capital firm specialized in technology transfer. We are based in Spain, holding offices both in the Canary Islands and in Madrid. And as I said, we are specialized in technology transfer. So we analyze projects in universities and research centers that are suitable for building companies. And we build the companies together with the researchers. We provide the seed funding, and then we collaborate with other venture capital firms in order to raise funding for the next rounds. And we are also specialized in raising funding from the European Union as well. So the accelerator and other programs for the companies we are being part of. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot. I still don't see Christian Schutte with us, but if he joins us later, we'll give him the word. So Oliver Tim, I don't think he's here either. So Richard, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you?
Yes, perfectly. If you can briefly introduce yourself.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Richard from the sunny Budapest, at least today. My background is in physics. I have worked in the energy sector, and I work as a consultant. I have been involved in terms of hydrogen in R&D, technology commercialization, and EPC projects mainly with hydrogen generation and storage. And I'm looking forward to these presentations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're happy you're here today. The next one, Alexander Van Os from Venture IQ. Alexander?
Yeah, hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Alexander. I'm a co-founder at Venture IQ. We're based in Amsterdam, and we're a software and services company helping corporates and investors map out any market, identify relevant companies, and analyze them. And hydrogen is an important topic also for our clients. So I'm really interested in hearing the pitches today.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. And we're looking forward to your feedback as well. Perry from 21st Century Business Growth Advisors. Perry,
Yes,
welcome.
Perry Verheijden. Good morning, everybody. My background is physics as well. 30 years Philips. 10 years, for 10 years, I went to big mature businesses over there, business groups, which has nothing to do with startups, obviously. But then for 10 years, I was CEO of Philips Corporate Venturing, reporting directly into the board of Philips. And after I left Philips, I continued supporting startups, which I found very interesting. And I do that as board member, as board chairman, EIC coach. I coached more than 80 companies for the European Commission. And I'm a long-standing tech tour friend. Excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are also very excited and happy for our long-standing partnership. Just before going to the presenting companies in these sessions, one more time to our coaches, you can put your questions in the chat while the companies are presenting. I will just now put the legend that we use, you know, Q for question, R for recommendation, etc., etc. So please use actively the chat. And to the companies, I will be the timekeeper. So as I said, I will annotate on the screen with the red letters that you have 1 minute left for your startup presentation. Is there any questions from anyone, or we can kick off? Okay, good. I will ask the companies to present as you see the order on the left side of the screen. So the first one is Miguel from H2 Vector Energy. I will stop sharing my screen so he can present and start with the 1 minute elevator pitch, then 2 minutes for feedback, and then the startup presentation of 5 minutes. Miguel, are you ready?
Yeah, so we will do the elevator pitch first, and then we will go to the presentation part, right?
Yes, I will now put the timer for your elevator pitch.
Okay.
And the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. Good morning, and thank you for your time to all of you. My name is Miguel Ángel Ocando. I'm the CEO and founder of H2 Vector, and we are building what we call the revolution of batteries. And we're doing it in order to support to decarbonize critical facilities as airports, ports, and hospitals, enabling the use of hydrogen as electricity, heat, and compressed gas for in order to attend the stationary and mobility applications of these facilities. Will be my elevator.
Great. You did it in 30 seconds. Now I will give the word to our coaches if they have questions or feedback. We have 2 minutes. So the floor is open now.
I can start if that's okay. So thanks for the super short 30-second pitch. Yeah, clearly you have a bit of time left. So I would probably 2 things. One is maybe to build a bit of excitement for people to come and visit your pitch. So maybe explain or say in a word what makes you so special or why you're so much different from other people. So that could be something. If you have a claim that you can share, which kind of you'll explain later in the presentation, of course. And the other thing is, if there is funding that you're raising, that could be a nice ending to your elevator pitch. If you have an ask from the audience, that could be something that you could mention.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Is there any other feedback from any one of our coaches? Okay, Okay, I don't see any at this time, but you have also opportunity after the startup presentation. So Miguel, now I would like to invite you to share your screen with the pitch deck, and you have 5 minutes to present.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for the feedback, Alexander. I believe that you can share, that you can see my screen.
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, well, thank you guys again. And well, basically at H2 Vector, we're building the revolution of batteries, and we're also building a hydrogen ecosystem. So our main target is to work on 3 main verticals. The first one is on critical applications, as airports, ports, and hospitals as the use cases for today. We have just landed an airport project and a port project in Portugal and in Spain. The second vertical that we're looking to develop is the one for industrial applications. I come from the power plant sector, and for example, just to give you an idea, only General Electric have more than 3,000 generators that are cooled with hydrogen around the world. And all these generators, most of them are using gray hydrogen. And with our product, with our Vector series, we can decarbonize all those solutions and provide green hydrogen for this industrial application, which is one of many. And the third one, it's the one related with mobility, which is one of the main aspects to develop and to be developed from hydrogen to support. And on this case, we're building a hydrogen refilling dispenser, which is meant to lower the entry value of companies to get private and public fleets to use green hydrogen as a fuel. And well, basically, we had to start somewhere. And what we did is that we built what we call a hydrogen battery, which is the Vector series. That includes an electrolyzer system, a compression set in order to be able to use those energy surpluses and store those surpluses into compressed hydrogen. And the third one will be, and the third part of the system, it's a fuel cell that enables you to return that energy as electricity and heat for stationary applications and also as electricity for mobility applications. Well, these are basically my most powerful slides, is that we're actually building projects, and our projects and products are a reality. We have active projects around Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Estonia. And we have delivered our Vector series, which is the smallest of our green hydrogen batteries. So these are projects from this year. And we have also developed our first demo for a hydrogen refilling, mini hydrogen refilling dispenser and station. And we're building also a second one for an airport. Just to give you a hint on the differentiation between the hydrogen batteries and the standard lithium batteries, is that ours have half of the CO2 footprint on the whole value chain of construction, utilization, and final disposal of the batteries from a standard lithium battery set. And that for systems which have a longer period of storage time of 24 hours or more, our solution is more profitable than the standard lithium batteries. We have several competitors around, mostly around Europe, and our main differentiation with them building hydrogen batteries or similar devices is that ours is ready to deploy mobility applications with compressed hydrogen. And the other one is that we have a really flexible energy output in terms of electricity on the alternate current and the continuous current at different, and we adapt really well to the different demands of the customer. We have already achieved more than 500, almost 600,000 euros from 2019 when we were established up to 2023. And this year, we are really happy to share that we're growing fast and that we have a pipeline of above 450,000 K, and we have more than 10 projects that we have already executed. Our team, it's an engineering core base team, but also we are building for a deep tech solution. We're building a core of chemist professionals. and we're raising. We're in what we can call a seed round, and we're asking for 1 million euros. 55% of that will be utilized in order to grow our operation around Europe, and the other 45 for R&D projects on 2 verticals, which are industrial applications and mobility. Thank you very much for your time, and if you have any questions, I'll be really happy to answer them or try. We cannot hear you, Maria.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much. Great timing. Sorry for the scratch on the screen. It was a mistake.
Don't worry.
Now, I would like to invite our coaches to give their feedback, ask questions. I can see one question from Elena in the chat. Which is your technology? Are you assembling parts from third parties? Elena, I would like also to give you the word if you want to elaborate further on your questions.
Yes, exactly, because I think it's better. Thank you very much. So thank you, Miguel Angel, for the presentation. Very, very interesting. I just wonder, because from the slides, I'm not sure if you have developed the components of your cell, or all the components that they are using in your battery, or are you just assembling different components from other providers?
Well, basically, to answer your question, is that we design and build everything and test everything by ourselves. The stacks of the solutions are not ours, are from a third party. But for example, the fuel cell, it's a complete development from ourselves.
All right. Do you have patents?
We have several utility models, which is common in Spain, but we don't have a patent yet on this system. It's not a patentable system, the whole set.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I see 2 raised hands, and then I will give the word to the coaches that wrote in the chat. But first, Richard, I see you raised your hand.
Yeah, it's an interesting presentation. I think you have a nice story, and interesting too. I would suggest you, or I am suggesting you, to reorganize your presentation and stress perhaps at the very beginning, the first 10-20 seconds, your capabilities, because EPC came out after a while. Engineering, you mentioned when you introduced your team. So that's your main capability. And then you also said deep tech, and then in the Q&A you mentioned what is your proprietary, if you can say, quote unquote, development. So consider all these positive and important capabilities and aspects to compress in the first 10 to 30 seconds to give an introduction and impression, so we can feel, the listeners can feel and understand who you are, what you can do, and what is the most important and something that most memorable, something that we have to focus. As just an explanation, there are a lot of technology developments going on, obviously, but without engineering capabilities and EPC capabilities and experience, you would definitely have to go to third parties to get to the market, and you can do it by yourself. So it's something which really differentiates you from many other startups and many other companies. Please do consider this. And I don't recall that you mentioned how much funding you're looking for. If there was such, if I missed it, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thanks for the feedback, Richard. It's really interesting. So I believe that in an opening sentence, we can build up, and from there to as a summary. Okay, yeah, I'll consider it. Thanks.
And just for the funding, it was in the last slide.
Yes, the funding was only, we mentioned the seed round, European seed round, of course, and we don't mention the amount on the slides normally, but yeah, it could be stated or written.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
The next one with raised hand is Perry. As I said, afterwards we will look at the chat. Perry, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Interesting presentation and also very encouraging. And you already gave part of the answer to my question in one of the other questions. That's about you don't have IP at the moment. My question then would be, and any investor would like to know this, what is your sustainable uniqueness? You have some slides about your uniqueness, that's good, which you could indeed add to the pitch as you had time left. When we go back to the pitch, I think Alexander made a remark on that. But in your slides you show that, but what is sustainable about that uniqueness? Investors would like to know, and that comes to the second point. You're not very bullish on the amount of money you are trying to raise. And if you don't have a lot of sustainable uniqueness or patents or other things that set you apart, you're in a kind of rat race with others that might raise a lot more money, not necessarily only in Europe, but also in the United States. And then how are you going to compete on the long run with those guys? So could you be, is there an opportunity to be more bullish on the amount of money you raise? But of course, it's connected to the sustainable uniqueness.
Yeah, in terms of our uniqueness, I think that Richard, and thanks for the question, Richard highlighted out better than I did, is that our capacity or capabilities with our engineering core base. We're building also on the deep tech space. We're building on the storage part with basically with liquid organic hydrogen carriers. We're building that, but it's not already there. We don't have a patent, let's say, presented yet on that part. We're still on a early R&D part. And what we're trying to do is identify these potentials and more or less, not going to say the word, but as a venture builder inside of the company, we have established ourselves with a product that we can sell, that people can, let's say, that can give us experience on hydrogen, actually real experience on hydrogen and the behaviors and how to make a better product for customers. And it's something that also customers want. So we have that capacity developed, and we are also developing and looking to develop these deep tech technologies that are more appealing for investors. So the amount of money that we're raising, it's to increase our commercial presence and offer around Europe. Basically, we were, and I'm sorry if I extend myself, I'll try to make it shorter. We were in a trip in the States. But in order to raise money in the States, you need to be established there, and it will take some time. And we're thinking on the States for let's say, commercial expansion and to try to raise more in an industrial round. At the stage that we're here, we're just looking to increase our sales and to get into new markets, which fortunately for us on this year, we landed an airport, a port, and different use cases that are really interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let us give the word now to the others because we have less than 3 minutes left. Alexander, I see you have a few questions in the chat, so please, the floor is yours.
Some things have been pointed out already. I think it's really important, I guess, for you to explain well what kind of company you are. Are you a product company, or are you a systems integrator, or are you kind of a mix of both? Which I guess you are. I would kind of try to push that up front and really, I think Richard also mentioned that point, kind of make clear from the beginning what you are, and things like a revolution of factories. It's really unclear what that means. So I would not use that word or that kind of positioning because nobody understands what that exactly is. I would try to make it concrete. And then I think you have customers, which is super interesting. I would then use a customer use case to really explain why they chose you, why you are so interesting, why you're offering something that other people can't do. And that really takes people along on the story of your capabilities. So that would be my main recommendation to kind of adjust the story a bit. And for the rest, thanks for the pitch. Was really interesting.
Thanks for the input, Alexander. really interesting. It's a really interesting approach, the customer use case. And as for the first question, we started building a product, but the hydrogen market is so tough, and in order to get sales, we try to offer our standardized product, and sometimes we need to adapt it, or let's say tailor it a little bit more for customers to finally, even if it's more costly than our product, which have more features, we still maintain ourselves as a product builder and as a product manufacturer. That's our goal. But we have sales on, let's say, system development also.
Thank you. Great inputs. And now, Matthew, the word is yours for your questions.
Hi. Yeah, so thanks. I think quite a bit has been covered in a way, but I think something similar is coming up from everyone's statements. So, I mean, I put that I missed a good problem statement at the start, and also asked about the willingness to pay. You mentioned GE, for example, using grey hydrogen. What would be the evidence of willingness to pay for green? But I think that the problem seems consistent in that setting up a strong problem statement, the value proposition, and then willingness to pay, it didn't quite connect. So I think that's sort of a thread that you need to try and make a bit stronger. And I think especially start with a sort of general problem statement at the start before you jump into those three verticals, something that connects all of those. And I think something else that would help in terms of the willingness to pay, when you mentioned your project, I didn't see the indication of, well, firstly, how big they are, but more importantly, who you're working with. So I think a better indication of the partners, and maybe I think it was already highlighted before by Alexander, that if you can use a use case, for example, of maybe one of your more promising companies, to show that traction that you already have in the market, and also to sort of indicate the value proposition and the willingness to pay from customers.
Thank you, Matthew. We're a bit over time. Then you'll have a chance to see the questions as well. The last one is from Ufe. Just very quickly, Ufe, if you can take your turn quickly to ask, or it just.
Well, my question is just: is this an investor case, or is it just a very nice business?
We realized that with the current value proposition that we have and the current approach, it will be more a business, but we are developing an ecosystem in order to make it a venture capital case. Let's call it that way. More of a venture capital money than only how we call it a corporate business. For example, one of our main investors is a corporate that works around the energy and the handling of fuel sector. So we are interesting for corporates, but not such interesting for ventures currently, and that's what we are trying to increase our, let's say, appetite from investors on VC side, the pure VC side.
Thank you for this answer. Thank you everyone for the good discussion and the valuable feedback that you gave to the first company that presented. Thank you, Miguel, Angel, for the good presentation. Wishing you a lot of luck at the on-site event. Now, if you can just stop sharing your screen, so I will invite the next company, Neil from Hydrogen Waves Limited. Do you hear me?
Perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, but first you have 1 minute for the elevator pitch, okay, and then you present the startup presentation. Are you ready for the pitch?
For the 1 minute pitch?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Right, I don't actually have timed this, so I'll be interested to see what time it is. To drive down the cost of hydrogen, all aspects need to be considered, and billions have been invested into the electrolyzer stacks. This is where the magic, where we split the water. However, to really drive down the cost and get green hydrogen to $1, $2, you need to look at all aspects. And for us at Highways, we're looking at overlooked electronics that make up 25% of the levelized cost of hydrogen. We're building 2 solar to hydrogen plants in partnership with BP to demonstrate our technology. And once complete, we're going to raise 5 million to further develop our electronics and software solution for future co-located solar to hydrogen plants.
Thank you. You did it in 45 seconds. Well done. Now, briefly, we have 2 minutes for any feedback from our coaches. Yes, Richard, I can see you raised hand.
Thanks for the pitch. It sounds good to me. I'm looking forward to the presentation.
Cool.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to say something on the pitch?
Maybe one thing, you have 15
Yes.
seconds left. I thought it was a really good summary. The only thing I was missing is that you mentioned that you're driving down the costs and you're targeting the 25%.
Right.
But then is there anything that you can say in that kind of 15 seconds that you've left on what you'll actually save then with your system or with your part of the overall solution? That could be an addition just to drive home the message. That's all.
That is one question that I need to put in there, and that's a really cool one, actually. Just let me take note of that.
Great. I don't see any raised hands, so I suggest we start with the presentation. You
Perfect.
have 5 minutes, and I will annotate when you have 1 minute left. So just make it a presenting mode so we can see,
Sure.
yes, the slides well. And yes, the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Niall. I'm the CEO for Highways. We're based in Cranfield in England, and we're building 2 solar hydrogen plants. And like I said in the 1 minute pitch, well, realistically, what we have here is billions and billions have gone into electrolyzer stacks, and it's hugely important. And some of the innovation has been remarkable at driving down the cost of making it more efficient and making it less costly. But this really in isolation is not going to move the needle. The electrolyzer stack itself makes up 30% of the levelized cost of hydrogen. But if you actually see a hydrogen plant, it's actually realistically a 25 container, and it's made up of many different components. And one of it is electronics, piping, storage, all these aspects come into hydrogen plants. But the very much overlooked aspect is the electronics and also the energy input for these hydrogen plants. We've got great, there's superb companies looking at electronics for hydrogen plants, like Siemens, like Schneider, but they're developing solutions really for grid connections. And anyone that actually thinks that we're actually going to be able to rely on the grid for hydrogen production is insane, because the fact of the matter is the grid is barely able to service the current needs of our customers, let alone when we all go to EVs and we all swap to air source heat pumps. The thing is that we really need to build co-located renewables for hydrogen production to overcome the grid connection problems. And so we need to optimize the input, the electric input for these future solar hydrogen plants. And a perfect example of how stupid the current system is in England. We have Octopus, who has a 4 megawatt solar asset, and right beside it, they've got a 1 megawatt electrolyzer. These are in spitting distance of each other. The solar plant produces this DC output. The electrolyzer needs DC input, but because the electrolyzer is realistically designed for grid connection, it can't take the variable input from renewables. So they actually have to convert the DC output from the solar into AC, put it into the grid, and take it out of the grid. And all these losses really very much add up. These losses alone, conversion losses, are 10%. but capital expenditure is very, very expensive. So what we're developing at Highwaves is electronics that gets integrated into the electrolyzer that enables the future solar to hydrogen plants to be completely DC to DC. So electric output from the solar is DC, and what we can do now is enable that electrolyzer to take a variable DC. And so it's optimized. Future solar hydrogen plants will not need inverters, which make up 10% of the solar to hydrogen plants, CapEx. And what we're doing is enabling not just co-located with grid, but also where we really come into our element is when it's off-grid completely. And so then you don't need the likes of transformer rectifiers. We submitted a patent about a year ago, we're waiting for that in the UK, and a PCT for our ability to do the co-locating electronics. We're primarily focused on the solar to hydrogen market when it comes to co-located. We think that's where the real market is going to be. We've done a top bottom-up analysis, which indicated we can get 8.5% of the market based on the energy companies that we're already talking to. And where we come into it is we develop electronics. We're going to white label these electronics and actually sell the electronics to the likes of ABB and Schneider, who in turn will sell the electronics to the big electrolyzer companies, the likes of Cummins, ITM. These will then be able to sell enhanced electrolyzers to energy companies who can have dedicated co-located renewables for future solar hydrogen plants. We think we can get 8.5% of the market, and we've already been sourcing. We've already been talking to an electronics company who white labels for ABB, and we believe that we can actually sell the developers, the manufacturer, the electronics for £14 per kilowatt, and then we'll be able to sell it to ABB for 28. We have superb relationships with ABB. We actually spent a whole week with them in March. Lightsource BP is actually building the two solar plants for us. EDP is actually co-financing the plants, and we're going to actually produce hydrogen for co-located ammonia production in one of the plants, and produce hydrogen for hydrogen buses in Wales. Both plants will be in Cranfield and in Wales. There's plenty of electronics companies, as I said, and the likes of ABB and Schneider that are realistically designed for grid connections. And there is some companies out there that are developing DC to DC, little minnows. But what we're able to do is actually take not just DC to DC, but variable DC to DC. And that's critical because that's what happens when you got a solar park. It moves around a lot. And what we can believe we can get it down to reduce the levelized cost of hydrogen for a minimum of 10%, depending on where you are in the world, it can be as much as 25%. The team is made up of mostly physicists and engineers. We're actually hiring really quality people now. So we've actually done our little pre-seed round. And what we want to do now is actually raise 5 million to, once we've had the pilots completed, we're going to actually really focus on actually more advancing the electronics, certifying the electronics, but more importantly, integrating artificial intelligence in there so that we can optimize the hydrogen production depending on what time of the year it is, what the input coming from the grid, etc. I look forward to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Neil. A lot over time with 2.5 minutes. So this is something I would say you need to work on. But now I will give the word to the coaches for any feedback. Alexander, I can see you're the first one in the chat, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, now really interesting. I think you spent quite a lot of time on slides 1 to 3. So even though that gives us a really good introduction into the problem, I think your slide 4 was really strong, because there you kind of say, okay, this is what we do, this is the solution. Maybe there's a way of condensing that, kind of taking part of that statement and doing that right up front, of saying we provide X% more cost saving or efficiency or whatever through a DC to DC coupling, and then explain the problem statement in a slightly more condensed form. Even though it's really illustrative, it took a bit too much time. And then you go into your slide 4, and I think then it's really, I think that's a really strong part of the story. And then I think the rest of this, you also have a bit more time for the rest of the points that you want to make in the rest of the presentation. So that would just be my main recommendation. I think it's, I mean, you have a really interesting value proposition, which I think should resonate well with people. So
Perfect.
Thank you, Alexander. I can see that Elena has the same comment on the presentation and the content. So if you can just reduce the time on the technical part. I can see that Matthew is raising hand. So Matthew, please.
I mean, it's a similar point, but just to add to it, the problem statement does all need to be tightened up quite a bit, but you're losing the key message. So I would try to see if you can reduce that to a few bullet points, because you've got some very important problems that you're addressing. You started off with the CapEx issue, so a lot of effort's being put onto the electrolyzer. That's only 30%. Oh, sorry, the stack, that's only 30% of the CapEx. But you didn't say what percent of the CapEx you're addressing by focusing on the electronics. So that would be a nice comparison. And the grid aspect is really important, and I don't see it on the slides, and the message was kind of take too long to come through. So I would try to break it down into sort of unlocking further reduction in CapEx. The problem with the grid connection, and the amount that you can save ultimately by having, for example, the direct DC-DC coupling. So those elements can maybe be brought into just a few points and point it up, and do have them on the slide and make more about the grid aspect.
Cool. Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew. Richard?
Yeah, adding to what was said, I would say the grid aspect is critical. It resonates with the people who understand it. So focus on this and sort of use it as a tool for a niche market entry. And in terms of considering a niche market, which could be your primary, also put developers as potential partners on one of the slides, because this whole story, when it resonates to people who consider developing projects without current or planned grid connection, it really creates a business opportunity. Other than that, I think everything was said, and as mentioned after the pitch, it sounds good. Just condense it. Thank you.
Just one question, if I may, Richard. Developers, do you mean like solar developers or hydrogen developers? Just wanted clarity.
Project developers.
Project developers, okay.
Project developers, so without naming them, they're well-known companies. They consider sort of prerequisites. And if there is no grid, then, for example, one particular location is out of the question. With your solution, it makes or it can make a business case sort of much more realistic. And this could be a key USP to make certain projects to consider.
Wonderful,
So,
thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Neil, you can see one more question in the chat. Feel free to answer. Matthew, are you raising hand again, or this is just from last time? Okay. Does anyone else want to add something? Feedback, questions, recommendation?
Can I?
Uffe, yes, please.
Yes. I'm a bit lost here. My background is also being energy regulator. So I would like a better presentation of the entire value chain from the power production and all the way through, and see what is the incentives of each of the parties in the entire supply or value chain to lead to these lower total hydrogen costs. I fully agree in your analysis of the problem with depending on grid supplied power. But I would also like to see the investment case for the business case for each of the elements in your entire supply chain to be convinced that you will get the needed power. So it's not enough that you have a dramatic good business case. If your upstream supplier doesn't have a good business case, you will not get an upstream supplier. So okay. I need better explanation of, let's say, the two sides of your business case, that they also will have a tremendous business case. Because if they don't have a business case, you don't have a business case. So I need a total description of it. But I think you are addressing something extremely important, but you need to dig into that in a more, let's say, it's not that it's not convincing, but it's not enough described.
And are you referring to the likes of when we white label and sell it to someone like ABB? You want to see the business case for them?
I want to see the entire. I want to see the business case of your power supplier and the business case of your customers.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Anyone else who would like to add something? I don't see anything in the chat. So, Neil, thank you very much for the presentation. Really good takeaways, and I believe this will help to improve for the on-site pitching in Riga. Now you can stop sharing your screen, and I will invite now. Okay, one of the next company is still not here, so Lydia Altes from Sakovin. Lydia, the floor is yours. You can start with the 1 minute elevator pitch and then the presentation itself.
Thank you very much. Let me just 1 second. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I have no slide for the 1 minute pitch. I will have slides for the second pitch.
Are you ready?
My name is Lydia Altes. Okay. I'm marketing and communication manager of Saco. Yeah, sorry, I have that.
Go ahead, go ahead.
So my name is Lydia Altes. I'm the marketing and communication manager of Sakowin, a deep tech created in 2017 by Gerard Gatt. Manufacturing products like glass, aluminum, ceramics, iron, food, paper, and many more use natural gas, which represent our third primary energy source today. The manufacturing and production sectors account for 1/5 of global carbon emissions and 54% of the world's energy. Industries are struggling to address energy transition because decarbonization solutions being deployed today based on electrolysis are too expensive since they use lots of electricity to produce green hydrogen. Sakowin is born from an analysis of the energy transition without any technologies in mind that has led us to think about producing hydrogen differently. Methane plasmolysis removes carbon from gas before producing energy and emitting CO2. It uses 5 times less electricity than electrolysis. The solution offers the potential to reach a production cost of €1 per kilo of hydrogen directly on site, and we plan in 2017 to offer 20 26, sorry, to offer an on-site decarbonization and carbon management services.
Okay, you're finished?
Yes, sorry, I don't have the good paper in front of me.
Okay, that's fine. You did it in a minute and a half, so a bit longer than needed. Now we have 2 minutes for quick feedback on the elevator pitch. Anyone else who would like to share?
Thank you.
Alexander, you want to say something?
Sorry, I can start. I think it came through that you probably weren't super prepared for the 1 minute pitch. At least that's kind of the sense I got. So you made it quite complicated in terms of you only have a minute. You can do it in less than a minute. I would really boil it down to a couple of like, what do we do? Who do we do it for? Why are we special? That's it. And what am I looking for?
Okay.
4 sentences essentially, and maybe a bit around it, but you did a really big introduction, and then you're kind of like, oh, what are they doing exactly, and how does it fit? And then so I would make it way more simple. And then it's just also much easier to stand there and do that 1 minute pitch. It's just that would be my recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, of course, I developed, in fact, the market. For who did we do it? But for sure, I don't speak about the technology or why we are special. So I completely agree. Thank you for your advice.
And if you make it simpler, you can also talk much slower, and it's just kind of it eases us up a bit more, I think. But anyway, that's just where I would do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alexander. I don't see anyone else. Maybe everyone is waiting for the presentation. So I suggest, Lydia, you share your screen and you have 5 minutes to present. Do you need any help?
Yeah, do you see my screen or not yet?
Not yet. Are you using two screens?
Yes.
Okay, you need to see which one, if they're extended or they're duplicate.
This one, is it
okay, now
better?
we see. Yes, we see it now.
Okay, I just try to switch. Okay, perfect.
And I will put the timer on.
Okay, so my name is Lydia Altes, and I'm marketing and communication manager of Sakowin, a deep tech created in 2017 by Jaragat. Manufacturing products like glass, aluminum, ceramics, iron, food, paper, and many more use natural gas, which is our third primary energy source today. The manufacturing and production sector use 54% of the world's energy and accounts 20% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Industries are struggling to address energy transition because decarbonization solutions being deployed today based on electrolysis are too expensive since they use a lot of electricity to produce green hydrogen. Sakowin, sorry, I tried to change my slide. Sakowin was born out of an objective analysis of the energy transition without any technologies in mind that has led us to understand the key factors for a successful energy transition. First, we need to use a natural resource available in large volume without any competing usage. Then we must use the molecule requiring the least amount of energy to produce a decarbonized hydrogen and keep an environmental imprint accessible by the planet. And finally, carbon must go back into the soil to help plants grow better to improve CO2 recycling. The analysis has led us to consider methane as a natural resource for decarbonization, far more effective than water. We just need to change the way we use it. We must stop its direct combustion and remove carbon before burning it to produce energy. Methane plasmolysis.
Lydia, sorry to interrupt you. I don't really see the full slide. I think something is cut on the left side, at least for me. Okay, now it's okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So the analysis has led us to methane plasmolysis remove carbon from gas before producing energy and therefore does not emit any CO2. It uses 5 times less electricity than electrolysis. Our patented microwave-powered methane plasmolysis is optimized to maximize the hydrogen production. Microwave is a robust industrial plasma source and enables us to develop an industrial solution quickly. It can be installed at the end of a gas line, allowing us to produce hydrogen in any capacity on-site and on demand using existing gas infrastructures. The solution offers the potential to reach a production cost below 2.5 euro per kilo of hydrogen direct on site, which eliminates the cost of storing and transporting hydrogen. Gerard Gatt co-founded the company with experts in the fields of alternative energy, physics, chemistry, and plasma. Today, Sakowin is a team of 27 people, mainly PhDs and engineers, who work every day to achieve our goal of providing a pragmatic solution to the energy solution. This year, we are launching a pilot program focused on installing our equipment in various industrial sites. Our first industrial pilot will be installed at the end of this year in Switzerland. 2 additional ones will be installed next year in Spain and the USA. Our first pilot will be installed near Zurich for an association of 11 industrial companies, including Holcim or Sika, who have hired an independent laboratory to study how to decarbonize their industrial processes. They have chosen Sakowin for their 4 years pilot program. We plan to release our product in the first quarter of 2026. We offer to produce hydrogen by decarbonizing gas is completed by a service to manage solid carbon, a co-produce of our reaction, so that customers who don't consume carbon don't have to worry about it. The solid carbon is permanently sequestered, making Sakowin technology a model of circularity. We are looking for 20 million euro in equity to finance our product manufacturing, scale-up program, and international expansion. Thank you for your attention and look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you very much, Lydia. 4 minutes and a half. Well done in terms of timing. Now I give the word to our coaches to give some feedback on the content. Uffe, you're raising hand. Please go ahead.
My automatic hand doesn't work. I think it's an interesting presentation, but I would like you to skip the first half of it because the problem you're addressing, we all know about. You're talking to people who knows the industry, so you could skip half of your presentation and focus on what you're actually doing. What's the technology, and why is it more efficient than any other type of technology, and what are the value you are creating in the process? Because you are addressing people who knows the industry, energy industry inside out, so that you can skip all the problems with the world and that, and then focus on what you're doing and why it is unique. I think it is unique, but I didn't have any clue of why it's unique because you spend so much time explaining the world problems you are addressing. Those problems we know about, I would like to know about your solution. And then a technical issue, when you do presentation online or not online, talk to me directly. Don't read your slides.
I just read because normally it was not me today. Just the reason why I wasn't prepared. But you agree, you're perfectly true.
Yeah, your credibility goes down when you read, and it goes up when you talk.
For sure, you agree. Thank you for your advice.
Thank you very much, Uffe. Matthew?
Okay, hi, thanks. Yeah, I mean, a very interesting presentation. I think if you follow Ufe's recommendations and get some more time back, I think it's needed when you talk more about the economics and the efficiency of the process. I mean, you said at one point you can get down to 2.5 euros per kilogram of hydrogen.
Yeah.
That's an extraordinary claim. and it needs to be supported. You need to show where that's coming from, and knowing what the efficiency of the process, for example, would help on one front, and how you expect to get down to that. Because I think that's something, especially now with the way the hydrogen auctions have gone, people are very sensitive to these claims of price, especially €6 and below.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Alexander, I see that you wrote in the chat. Do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, very briefly. I think very close to what the prior speakers, Richard and Uwe, mentioned. Also Matthew and Uwe. I think if you can also what I'm kind of missing kind of where you're positioned versus the competition, because there are alternatives, I guess. So you can either procure hydrogen. So where are you kind of there? Clearly you have a target number in terms of cost per kilo. But potentially you could also juxtapose your technology with using methane, and then capturing the CO2 through direct air capture or something like that. I mean, I don't know, I'm not in your business, but being able to kind of position yourselves in terms of numbers, so cost or efficiency versus competing technologies, that really helps kind of position yourself and show why you're so interesting from a technical and economic point of view. And that I think would be helpful for the listener or the people looking at the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alexander. Perry, Richard, do you want to say something? Elena?
Yeah, I can go.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sure. So that's an interesting value proposition that you have. Make it clear at the very beginning what it is. So you do pyrolysis. Okay. You're using natural gas to sort of position yourself that you are not replacing the existing word with some words, but what you are using existing resources in a different way. Everybody understands that if you don't burn, then gas is not so good or not as bad. I'm sorry, not as bad as usually it's being described. So you have a different approach. Also, some comparison would be useful. Why conventional pyrolysis is different? What's the USP of your microwave technology compared to conventional, compared to CSP, for example, compared to many other potential solutions? So why is it? And because that would help to focus your value proposition to the right place. And skipping everything that you said, at the end you mentioned that your demo is going to be in Switzerland, which is a beautiful place. And then you're planning expanding to other locations. I would strongly recommend to consider those locations right at the very beginning where gas is available, because they are interested in the potential of sort of breaking it down CH4 to hydrogen and black carbon, right? So because that's what you do. So it's not something new. I have also looked into this more than 10 years ago. So consider the gas locations because they are interested. In terms of using your future reference in Switzerland, there might be advantages, there might be disadvantages, and for you, the most important is to get to the market ASAP, which is you need to talk to the developers and those who are supplying natural gas in one another form.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. Perry?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. You talked about equity financing, and there was one slide in which you showed that you did have equity financing, grant financing, again, equity financing. In the past, what are the plans really for the future, and how are you going to, let's say, accelerate your business? You do have a patent, but how well can you defend your presentation, or is it more a good business in which you have to outpace competition, and in that case you need money to do that? So what's the plan for that?
Okay, I have to detail this part and more the market traction, perhaps. Okay, I will work on it. Do you think it's important to write the modules we have planned to sell in the next few years or stuff like that? Is it relevant for someone like you?
Well, if you talk to, because that's such a pitch is destined to investors, right? So they want to know your longer term plan about how you create value for them. An investor will put in money to get out more money. That's
for sure.
That's how it works. So it's all a money game. And if you have some unique technology, patented technology, as was in one of your slides, I recall. But still, how well can you defend yourself against competition? There will be competition always. There will be a lot of competition on the field. How are you going to create value? How much money do you need to even create more value? How can you accelerate value creation? All these kind of aspects is relevant, and that includes equity and grant funding in future.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I will work to add more details.
Thank you, Perry. We have 30 seconds left. Elena, I see you raising hand, so please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, Lydia. I just wanted to anticipate a question that somebody may raise during your presentation, and it's regarding the funding. Because I've seen on your slide that you already got 4 million euros in equity from the EIC, and you are asking now for 20 million euros.
Yeah, so we are
sorry, let me finish. So my question is, considering that via the EIC you can already raise 15 million euros, why did you ask for only 4 million?
Okay, so we have asked 4 million only to finance the demonstrator program. And now we would like to finance the release of our product. We have
but you had the opportunity already to ask for that to the EIC at the same time. So that's probably somebody going to ask you about it.
Okay, I will prepare an answer. Thank you for your advice.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lydia. Now we have one more presenting company, and I would like to invite Nora from Stuff 2. Nora, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for joining. The format, because you joined a bit later, 1 minute elevator pitch, followed by 2 minutes of feedback, and then you have 5 minutes for your presentation. Are you ready for the elevator?
Yes, pitch? I am.
Okay, then I will keep the time for you and you can start.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Nora Oberländer. I'm the head of business development at Stoff 2. And we are a scale-up based in Berlin-Tegel. And what we do is we produce hybrid battery electrolyzers. That means we can do energy storage and hydrogen production in one device. That has the advantage that we can reduce the green hydrogen price significantly because we use the cheapest hours during the day. And because the biggest part is the electricity price and hydrogen price, we can reduce the hydrogen price to 4 euros. Who do we do that for? We do that mainly for project developers, but also utilities or solar and wind developers. And we are special because we're the only ones doing that technology right now that is based on the zinc intermediate step electrolysis that we have developed with a team of 30 people now, and our backers are from the solar and wind energy space. And what we need right now is we're raising 10 million to build at our mega factory production in this hall in Berlin-Tegel. We've already started with our prototype, and we are happy to look for other investors who want to scale hydrogen, green, cost-effective, and secure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lydia. Minute and 15 seconds. Now I open the floor for any quick comments from our coaches. Anyone? Everyone is.
I think it was clear. Yeah. So I think I'm just thinking, is there a you say a lot of different things. I don't know if there's anything. I guess you're starting production, so there's no clients yet, right? So it's really kind of you're here to pitch for money to build the factory. So yeah. Otherwise, maybe it would have been something to say something about partners that you're talking to or working with to kind of build a bit of credibility. But I guess that can also go on the main presentation. So, well,
that's a good feedback. We have that. Didn't talk about it.
But yeah, you can't fit everything in a 1 minute pitch. So yeah.
Thanks, Alexander. Richard, you want to add something? Or
sounds good to me. A bit condensed and listen to Alexander.
Great.
To references and partners. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you, Nora. Now, I think we can start with the presentation. So if you can share your screen, and you have 5 minutes for this.
Yes, give me 1 second about sharing. I think you should see the whole presentation now.
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. All right. 1 second. Okay. Yes, my name is Nora Oberländer, Head of Business Development. Happy to talk to you today. We are Stoff 2. We produce hydrogen, green, cost-effective, and secure. What are the problems we see currently? The problem is green hydrogen is not competitive. It's way too expensive. But energy storage is also too expensive. Electrolyzers are not really flexible and using too much rare earth materials. So our solution is cost effective because we can produce the hydrogen cheaper. We have a hybrid battery electrolyzer. We can be grid supporting because we just use the electricity when it's really in excess, and we just use zinc in our solution. The market we are combining is the market for battery storage and electrolyzers. The market is growing rapidly. I think you all know that. And we see a 30% market increase. How does our zinc immediate step electrolyzer, or in German, Zink Zwischenschritt Elektrolyteur, try saying that 3 times, work? It is, we shorten it ZZE. We can charge 4 hours when power prices are low. Then we store it in a zinc chemical form. And then for 12 to 24 hours, we can produce the hydrogen. So here we decouple in a tiny matter the energy intake from the hydrogen output, which is different to standard electrolyzers. This container contains 1 megawatt hour H2 output equivalent, and we can produce the hydrogen at 4 euros per kilo because we reduce the electricity price. Because we just charge during 4 hours when we have, for example, midday, a lot of solar, and then we can reduce for especially the OPEX price. We produce hydrogen on demand, so we don't need big hydrogen storage, which are normally very costly. And then we can be grid supporting, and we can succeed with 100% renewables because we just use thrown away electricity. The whole system has a 70% efficiency compared to other electrolyzers and has no rare earth materials, no platinum, no iridium, no PFAS, and therefore is better for recycling and in terms of price. Currently, Stoff 2 is around since 2020. We are built by German solar pioneers, the founders of Solan and Q-Cells. And now we have built a prototype in Tegel that is running for the last 6 months. So we have reached TRL 6. And now with our first project, one is the Reformers project in the Netherlands, in Alkmaar, that is EU funded. We will be going to TRL 7 and 8 because we will be demonstrating our pilot in a relevant industrial environment. As well, we have just won a couple of weeks ago a project in Germany, which will be also with the end usage of mobility. In Alkmaar, also the hydrogen refueling station will be supplied. And then we have big plans. We want to do, of course, first of its kind project that we have discussions with our strategic partner and also strategic customer, HH2E. They have announced big projects of 2 gigawatts in Lubmin and Tierbach, and we are their preferred supplier. So we are going to build up our gigafactory starting already 2026 and then finishing mid 2027 to build up the scale that we need to fulfill these orders. And just the Hartz-IV order alone, we would have 3/4 of our production capacity filled out. Of course, we have other partners like Hervam, Rema, IAV, SKL that we work with on the engineering side. So what's the team? We are currently 30 people. This is the management team, background already in different founders from different areas, but also hydrogen knowledge, but also automation and production knowledge. So we have gathered a really kick-ass team, and now we are able to scale. And for that, we need you. We are looking at a 10 million currently. The most shares are currently held by the founders and one strategic investor, but we're open now to include also new investors. We have signed 4 million grant now from the German government, and also we have achieved the EIB or EIC seal of excellence, and we have an EIB advisory agreement. And of course, we are also looking forward to innovation fund and EIC funding from the European Union. But now we are mainly focusing on this 10 million equity raise that has already started, and we are wanting to close that by fall. So if you're interested, please reach out to me or also to our CEO, and we produce hydrogen, secure, cost-effective, green. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nora, for the presentation. Almost on time, 10 seconds more. That's fine. And now I would like to open the floor for feedback, questions, recommendations from the coaches. Who would like to start? I don't see. Yes, Perry?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. Clearly well prepared, and as the elevator pitch was as well, so well done. You're going to need money. You make that clear, you explain it very well, what kind of money you need. The investors will want to know, why should I put in money and how will my money then work for me? And we're worth a lot more. Part of that would, for me, be patents. How you can defend your value proposition, your uniqueness over a longer period of time. I may have missed that in your story, but I can't recall, a story on IP in your slides. Is that correct?
True, I didn't say that. We have patents, but I didn't put that here. That's a good recommendation.
I think that's a very important thing for investors. They want to know why it's sustainably unique.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Perry. Who would like to go next? Alexander, I see comments in the chat, so please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Nora. I think it was a really clear presentation. So I think it's also a nice, energetic presentation style. So that's always good. I think there's just 3 points. One is in the context of free electricity, essentially that's what you're saying, kind of in periods when electricity is very cheap. Is €4 then cheap hydrogen. That I don't know, but it would be interesting to get a bit of context there. I think the other point is that yeah, I think there are other people also kind of providing this type of solution, at least in terms of kind of end application. So showing where you are compared to the competition and why you're better. Just purely now you're just comparing against electrolyzers. So I guess is that the real competition, or is there other competition that is more relevant to you? Maybe both are relevant, but one as a kind of a technology and one as you versus other people supplying similar types of solutions. And then finally, I think, yeah, the customer use case. So who are you going to be selling to? Why is it going to be so interesting to them? Is it, yeah, would you be competing against long duration energy storage, where you can just store the energy maybe in compressed air or something like that, and then release the electricity when it's more valuable again? Or are you really competing against hydrogen production? And is that the use case that your clients are looking for? So your target market, kind of what is the gain for the end customer? That will be interesting. And those are my points.
Yeah, thank you very much. The customer case I should definitely make clearer. The competition as well. We are replacing battery and electrolyzer. So there's not so much competition exactly that field, but of course we are competing with that combination as it is right now. And for the €4, just quickly, we calculated that with on average 35 euros per megawatt hour electricity price, which would have another upside if you can really get the negative prices. But I should say that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Matthew, yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, I'll just be quick because another Uffe had his hand up before me. I think just one follow-on from Alexander, which is I would have a question about how long you can store the energy for in your system. I came across that it is fairly short duration, however you put 4 hours. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so it's a daily storage. It's not a seasonal storage. It can be days or weeks, but at one point, as in a battery, you have side effects. But I should also mention that. Thank you, Matthew.
Okay. But yeah, otherwise, very solid presentation. I think it's clear you're well rehearsed by this point.
Thanks.
Thank you, Matthew. Is there anyone? Uffe, yes? Are you raising hand? Sorry. Yes.
I'm missing. Yes. It doesn't work on my computer, this automatic. I think it's an excellent presentation, and this is where, therefore, it's very easy to pose questions. The €4 per hydrogen is not doesn't impress me. We are in order to have hydrogen competing with fossil fuels, we need to go much further down. But there is a market for the hydrogen price of €4. But I'm missing the technology. Is it an entirely new type of electrolyzer you are building compared to the existing electrolyzers? That I didn't really get. Of course, you can also store. And then to me, if you don't have enormous storage capacity, will there then be customers down the road, down in your supply chain, who are willing to take a variation of hydrogen into their production? One of the reasons I've been working with one of the largest European industries, so I know this trick about using hydrogen as an alternative fuel to coal and other things, and therefore variations in hydrogen supply became a problem, because it's nice that you can have cheap power, but then you produce also hydrogen at a very short period of time, and then you don't have this continuous flow of hydrogen unless you need to have a very large electrolyzer.
Yeah. So, so the first thing about the hydrogen quality, I think we can provide all qualities that are needed, and then the continuous flow. The idea is to have a 24-hour operation. When you have two systems running asynchronous, so always one system is charging, the other one is discharging. So this is how you can have 24/7, and it's a different chemical process, so it's based on an alkaline electrolyzer, but it's a different, like, you can say it's a new type of electrolyzer or a new type of battery that is discharging hydrogen. So that is definitely the newness about it.
If it is a new type of electrolyzer, what is the longevity of it compared to the existing ones, the PEM and the others?
Yeah, we don't have a membrane in the system, so we see it is there's less maintenance required, and also it's less easy to break, because membrane is one of the things that is an issue. We have tested it now for about 2,000 hours. Of course, we can't say we've tested it for 20 years, but we see that compared to what we know actually from the field, how fast you need to change alkaline or PEM stacks, that we definitely have a longer longevity. So this is how much I can say from the perspective right now.
Thank you, Nora. Do we have anyone else who would like to provide any inputs? This is the last presentation for this session.
Yes, I would have a
yes, please go ahead.
Short comment that Uwe just mentioned, and the discussion goes towards the technical aspects, which and also longevity, durability. I think it should be highlighted during the presentation. It's on one hand, and another comment is that your use case is based on cheap electricity, which might be the current situation. Now, if you don't have a long-term power supply agreement, then you have connection to the grid, where electricity is usually traded. So this is the current situation, and that might change. It will not necessarily change overnight, but might change if there's another interconnection or whatever there. So that's one particular use case. It's a market entry case, which is quite interesting, but that could be a niche. So this is why I started with your technical capabilities, which might give a much wider market entry opportunity, where cheap electricity is sort of an additional bonus to get a more competitive levelized cost for in a short term or a longer term, depending your power supply arrangement or capabilities or availability or whatever. So technicality, your technical advantage is something that should be highlighted. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Just you have a few seconds for response.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think as far as we see, the electricity price gap during the day will also stay in the next years from the energy forecast model that we've seen. That's why we put it so much in the forefront, but it's also important to focus on the technical details. Thank you, Richard.
Okay, time is over now. This was the last presentation for our breakout room. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you to the coaches and to the presenting companies. It was a really good session, I would say, and hope you have a really valuable takeaways. Thank you once again. Now I would like to ask you to leave the room, not the meeting, so you can go back to the main room just for a few more minutes in Vanya's capable hands, just to give you some wrap up. Thank you once again, and she'll follow up with you after that. Wishing you a good day and great summertime. Enjoy.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Have a good
Bye.
day.
Bye-bye.